Hi guys, and welcome to the DCSI YouTube channel. With this brand new video we are going to have an overview regarding Freestyle, the brand new product by New Sonic Arts. New Sonic Arts is a developer well known for three plugins which actually allows you to use granular synthesis, sampling and slicing, having much fun, and they are easy to use. And I invite you to have a look over the New Sonic Arts website where you can find their demo and you can try them out. They are Granite, Nuance and Vice. They come bundled within Freestyle as demo to try them out. Now, Freestyle comes from the past summer, is pretty new, but is already quite well developed and stable. It's aimed to be a VST AU performance live tool, but can be used also as a plugin host too, in standalone mode like I'm doing now, and in a plugin mode within your DAW of choice. As said, Freestyle comes with actually 6 plugin bundled, which are non-expiring. You can use it as much as you want, and they are here just to have a look all together. It's a bit delay, a chorus, a filter, a lo-fi, a steroid, and a sing verb, which is a reverb. I know for sure the developer is going to add more of these during the next updates. Now, of course, you're buying Freestyle because you want to add your own VST. So one of the first things to do when you are launching the program is to go in the settings here below this little triangle and go to the setup. With this menu you can do several stuff like opening your performance, saving your performance bundled with samples when you want to share it with people on the internet. You can install sound packs for the 3 New Sonic Arts plugin. You can launch the manual. Of course, you can quit the program and you can adjust your settings. One of the first things you want to do is to set up your audio card, sample rate, latency, and so on. You want to add and filter and control your MIDI interface, input and outputs. You want to make some adjustment to the graphic interface, and if you want you can check also which version you are running, and of course here will be your authorization. And finally, most important, on the file page you can check which folders you are going to add, that Freestyle is going to scan to add the plugins to the programming. The first time is going to scan the plugin folder like you're seeing now, and is building for each plugin thumbnails, miniature. So it's very easy after to scroll through them, just looking at first sight when you're having a bunch to use. Many of us are having hundreds and hundreds of plugins, so or you can search them, type in the name here in this form, or you can scroll through them like this, and after the first scan they will be here in alphabetical order altogether and grouped under the developer name. Let's say you want to look only the instruments. This is possible thanks to these 3 icons. Clicking the first keyboard one, you will have visible just the instruments and the samplers and so on. Clicking the second icon, the effect icon, you will be able to see just the effects, and when you're adding some favorites of your choice, they will be available quickly here below the favorite folder, which again can be filtered. So you're going to see the just the instrument favorite, all the effects favorite, or all together. Let's have a look together at the main icons on the upper menu. Now, the first one is the lens, which show or hide the browser. The second one we are already having a look now, it's the plugin browser. The third one is the file browser, so you can go inside your computer, your folders, hard disk of choice, and also add them to favorite again. This is going to be much important later. I will explain what it's doing. It's the assignment page. After we are having the undo history, so whatever you're going to do inside Freestyle will be stored. So when you do something that you don't like, you just have to go back and undo or redo. This is pretty useful. Now going on the right of the menu bar, we are having the full screen icon, which will bring the software in full screen mode. We are having the name of the project, a basic transport bar with a play, a stop and a rewind. Here we are having our BPM, it can be changed or clicking and typing what we need, or clicking, holding the mouse and just dragging. After we are having this that allows you to sync Freestyle, we are having the undo and redo button. When we are assigning something to the macro and we are changing the value of the parameters will be available here. This is the CPU load, and this one is an info toggle which can help you to understand at the beginning the various meaning of each option, as you can see now. Let's go back to our plugin browser. Now we want to add initially, let's say, a synthesizer. So let's just select with the mouse, like I'm doing now, clicking and holding and dragging it and dropping it on the working area. If I'm adding a second synthesizer, if I'm dropping it over the one already existing, this one will be replaced, okay, like you're seeing now. But if I don't want this and I want to add at the same time several synthesizer, again I'm selecting the second one. Instead of dropping it on top of the old one, I'm just dropping it anywhere in the empty area. So as you can see, something new popped up. This is the case split tool. If now I'm playing, you can hear I'm playing each of them at the same time. Let's say I don't want this, I want to play on a part of the keyboard the first one, on the other part of the keyboard the second one. So if I'm taking the right handle of the first one, I will drag it until the point where I want to make the split. Going to the second one, and I'm taking the beginning of the key split, let's say more or less I will leave it like this. So now if I'm playing when I'm playing the first two notes, I was in this zone. When I started to play the third notes, I was already in this second zone. This is pretty handy. So now let's have a look to what's going on here below. If we click on the mixer name, as a basic but very functional mixer, we are going to find a mute button, which you're going to make active just clicking on the name. We are going to have the volume slider, and we are going to have a palm pot. The structure view, where it shows up simply clicking on the icon, is making more visible what's going on. Now let's say I want to add one effect here and another here. It's pretty easy. Let's say I will add a convolver to OBX. I'm just clicking on my plugin selected here from the browser area up to the first patching wire, and voila, now it's Now let's say I want to add a second one to the second VST. Let's say I want to add a reverb. I'm just taking this one and dropping it where is this little square. Okay, so it will be added there, because if you let's undo that. If you are not highlighting this one, it will end up after the mixer, see, like this. Okay, has to be highlighted, or the wire or this little square. Now what does it mean, the square or the dots you saw here? From the circle I can add other instruments, and I can add other effects clicking on the little square. Okay, now let's say I'm adding many other plugins as much as I want to play with, and my computer is able to load. It will be a little bit too much cluttered, the view. So once we have done our settings, we can go back to the default view that are making things more clear to see. One of the final and very nice and important feature is the macro controls. You can assign many parameters at the same time, even on just one macro, and you can assign parameters from different plugins. How can I add the cutoff here? I'm just clicking on this L icon, that is the learn function. You can see it's highlighted the first macro, and after I'm going to click on the parameters that I want to assign and move it, and it's already done. Now I want to do a second one. Let's say I'm taking the resonance of this filter, and voila, they are assigned. Now I want to add to the first one also the reverb send of this plugin that is from the other signal flow. I can do it. How? Let's click on this little icon below the learn one, and it's popping up the add destination. So let's go back to clicking on the macro. I want to add another control. I'm clicking on add destination, and it's popping up any parameters of any plugin that at the moment is on the working area. So let's go to Symverb, mix, click on it, and now you can see both of them are assigned to the same macro. I want to assign this macro to one knob of my physical MIDI controller. How can I do it? Let's go back to something we saw at the beginning of the video. That is, let's switch off the learn function. That is the assignment page. Here, this little knob on the upper left side. Here, once we are in the assignment page, we can click on this learn, that this time it's a MIDI learn, and we can click on the macro we want to assign and move after our knob. Voila, it's assigned. Now I want to assign another knob to the second macro. I'm clicking on the second macro and moving another knob. And I can do this on and on. Of course, I can go to save the entire project like we saw at the beginning of the video, but if I'm doing some little variation of this same project, each time I want to make them available with a quick recall without going to open each plugin and just move each fader, here comes handy the snapshot. Clicking on this little camera, and it's opening the snapshot menu. So whatever is now in a certain position within Freestyle, clicking on this plus is going to be saved in this snapshot, which I actually can rename, like setup 01. Now if I'm doing some other variation, not of a single plugin, but an old plugin altogether, now I made some variation, and I'm saving a second snapshot, and I'm renaming it setup 2. Okay. See, when I'm clicking on the first snapshot, is immediately switching where all the controls were when I took the snapshot. On the second one, the same. So it's really fast and easy to make a configuration of the same setup each time. We can add really many sub-page of macros. So just using this plus and X button, we can add other pages, and we can erase them. I found interesting that you can add, for example, I am having my 8 switches on my master keyboard, and I wanted to prepare some of them to switch on and off the channels. Let's click on the learn function. I'm adding to this macro this on and off button, which is the mute. I'm adding the second mute to the second macro. Now I want to add these ones to my MIDI controller, to my switches over there. So I'm going to the assignment page. I am clicking learn. I'm clicking on the first one. When it's selected, I start to click on my controller. I'm clicking on the second one, and I'm clicking on the other switch on my controller. Okay, and once it's done, let's switch off the learn here and the learn there. We can even close anything and just have visible the mix. So now I can easily switch on and off any channel, okay? Also, but at the same time. To recap, it's a very powerful live performance host. The developer is already working on some new updates where MIDI filtering and MIDI channel selection is going to be more deep, and a very interesting addition will be in a future update the step sequencer and an event player. That's all by now. Thanks for watching. I hope this little introduction has helped you to have a little bit more clear idea about freestyle. And again, I invite you now to go to New Sonic Arts website where you can find the demo available. It's going to be, I think, something like 60 days non-expiring demo, so you can try really in an extensive way. And after, I do hope you are going to purchase it and support this very interesting software. Thanks for watching again, and see you soon.